Hi, I'm Walter Silbert, product specialist at My Household Storage Solutions. What I'm going to do here today is take you through a typical install of a basic closet installation. Before you approach the house, just make sure that you have with you a drop cloth, a pair of booties, and let's go to work. Once you've opened up the Ox box, you want to lay out all the panels, shelves, drawers, and doors. You'll also have the poles. There's going to be a box with all the screws and all the small hardware. Some basic tools for the installation of a closet would be a screwdriver, a stud finder, a box cutter, a tape measure, a screw gun, a level, and a mallet. You will be sent a ratchet screwdriver along with some other items in a small packet. Also a handsaw. Some other specialty tools that would be a good idea to have on a job would be a circular saw, a jigsaw, maybe a hacksaw, and if you do have the availability, a table saw would definitely come in handy. Along with the material that you'll find inside the Ox box, you'll also find boxes of hardware. In the box of hardware, there are a few different items. First of which, angle brackets, which are secured by two different screws. There's a 3/4 inch wood screw that goes into the panel itself, and then a 2-inch screw that goes into the wall stud or molly or some other type of locking device into the wall. There's a double-ended stud for the fixed shelves where they get continuous. There's also a push-in wall stud, also for a fixed shelf. There's adjustable shelf pins that get used on all the adjustable areas. There's a number 6 wood screw that get used for drawer installations, and it could also be used on an angle bracket. There's a Euro screw, which is a cylinder type screw. It doesn't have a point on it. That gets used also to install the drawer slides. Then there are pole cups. The poles that we use are oval poles, they're chrome oval poles. These have 2 pins on them also that line up with the pins that are on the panels. They can be pushed in. You could also use a number 6 wood screw to lock it in. These are the discs that cover the screw holes. They come color coordinated depending on the color of the installation. So it might not be a perfect match, but they're in the family. This last bag is of hardware to install toe kicks. The plastic piece, you'd use the rubber mallet to knock the plastic into the holes on the panel. Then the steel clips get actually attached onto the toe kick itself and then pressed together. Different closet installations have different amounts of walls or different size closets. Today what we're working on involves 2 walls. Sometimes a walk-in can be 3, 4, or 5 walls. What we do is walk in here first, we take a look at the walls, we'll see if there's anything in the way or obstructing where our units will go as far as shelving or drawer units. On this wall here we have a power outlet and a cable outlet. So we want to make sure that that is not in the way of where the designer put certain parts of the closet installation. On the far wall we have another wall plate, which again, we just want to make sure isn't in the way. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to measure the wall, the space that we have now, which we have 72 plus inches of usable space here. On the plans, we need 59 1/4. So 59 1/4 will bring us before that light switch. It's right over here. Now each unit, it starts off with a 40-inch unit coming from the corner. So when you add in the panels, that becomes 41 1/2. So it would bring us to this space here. And then the second unit is a 27-inch unit, which would bring us past these outlets. So we do have room, and the designer was correct. On this far wall, let's see, we needed 55 1/2 inches total, because that takes into account the 24 inches of return that we want on this wall for the hanging material. And then the drawer unit is 30 inches wide, so that will be right around this outlet here, so that'll be no problem at all. Everything will fit. Now that we've checked the dimensions of the room and the dimensions of the actual closet installation, we'll come and grab the panels. So we bring the panels in one section at a time. They will have labels on them. Each panel, in order from left to right, are labeled consecutively. So the panels we'll start off with section number 1, and that first shelf to the right of that would be section number 2, which is this one here. By looking at the plans, any sections that would have drawers, we want to prepare these upright panels just to make sure that If they do need a toe kick, we can put the toe kick clips on prior to carrying them in. It's just easier installation when it's laying down. This is a drawer section in section 2. So to install, what we'll use is the mallet and these clips that are in the bag with the toe kick installation kit. In the second and third hole up from the bottom, which we determine because the top of the panel has an edge band, and that's where the labeling is also on the top side. You just knock this piece of plastic in like that until it's flush, and now that's installed. We'll do that on both panels 1 and 3, because that's the left and right panels for that first section. So again, in holes 2 and 3. That's if it's not leaning on something. That's why we do it when it's laying down, so you have more support when you're knocking it in. Okay. Another thing to look for when you're going to grab your panels, the top and the bottom, the way that the holes are drilled, the top and the bottom can be switched. So if there is a damage somewhere on a side or a top edge, you can flip the panel to make the top the bottom. That way it doesn't slow you down with your installation. Now that we've prepped our panels and carried them into the room, we're going to work along with Bob, our lead installer, and start installing from the left to the right by pinning all of our panels and getting them ready to install. Bob is also the person that you'd be speaking to in the case that you would need any help with an installation. You'd be speaking to Bob on the phone directly. What he's doing now is he's putting the push pins into the panels. He started from left to right. The push pins on the top are for the top cam. He's also putting them in on the bottom, just above where the toe kick is, for the bottom of the drawer section. What you'll see now is he's actually going around to all the panels, putting the push pins in. The reason he skipped that center panel, that's going to be a shared panel where we can use a double-sided stud, such as this one here, because that way it carries through with the cam shelf. He'll put that one in after this. What Bob is doing now, on a double hang section, we're splitting the panel in half, 42 inches, to give you the symmetrical double hang section. On the last section to the right is a shelving unit, which involves 6 adjustable shelves and 3 fixed shelves. What we would do here is divide it again right in the center for the center fixed shelf, and then divide evenly the space for the adjustable shelves, just so it looks symmetrical top and bottom. So these are the through pins that we skipped before on the center panel that go from the double hang to the shelving unit on the right-hand side. Now the installation of the double pin, it has to be done in a certain way. It actually has a washer on the one side that's built in, so it goes in one direction like an arrow. You bring it towards the left-hand side or towards the side that you're going to lock in first. So that way that washer end pulls up against the panel to lock it together. If you put it the opposite way, when you go to lock it, it pulls the pin back out and the shelf can fall on your head. In the first section, where the drawers are going to be installed, these are the drawer slides, the second half that comes in a separate hardware box inside the Ox box pallet. The other piece of this slide is actually installed previously on the drawers. That's how they get sent to you, is installed on the drawers already. As you'll see on the panels, there are a third set of holes down the center. We use those just as a guide to show you the height of where the drawer installation is going to be. You use a Euro screw, those small half-inch cylinder screws, to install the drawer slide onto the panel. Just how Bob is doing here. And the slides line up. The front part of the slide you bring to the front edge of the panel. And then the holes line up with the holes that are on the drawer slide itself. And then you just insert the Euro screw. On the panels, the installation for the drawer slides, it has a guide hole in the center. This is the center hole. This is the front hole, the center hole, and the rear hole. The center one is just a guide. The Euro screw doesn't go into that hole. We just use the front and the rear hole. The slide holes on the back of the slide, they would line up directly with these holes. So it makes it a very simple installation.